The night before it all began, I thought my life was ordinary. Looking back, I can see how wrong I was. My name is Ethan Miller, 17 years old, high school junior, and up until recently, a fairly invisible guy. I wasn't unpopular, exactly, just unnoticed. I didn't play sports, didn't join clubs, didn't have the charisma of guys who drew attention without trying. Most days, I stayed in the background, keeping my head down and praying not to get singled out by bullies or teachers. The only thing that set me apart was my sister. Chloe Miller was everything I wasn't. Outgoing, popular, and stunning in the way that made people turn their heads in the hallway. She was a senior, captain of the cheerleading squad, and the type of girl who seemed to sparkle in every room she entered. Teachers adored her, classmates envied her, and even parents in the neighborhood pointed her out as a role model. And then there was me, Chloe's awkward, quiet younger brother. We didn't always get along, but Chloe had this way of pulling me into her orbit, whether I wanted to or not. She loved teasing me, pushing my buttons, and challenging me with ridiculous dares. To her, I was the perfect victim for her endless games. To me, she was equal parts infuriating and fascinating, someone I could never fully figure out. It was on a rainy Saturday afternoon when everything began. The sound of raindrops against our windows filled the house, and I sat in the living room hunched over my phone, scrolling through nothing in particular. Chloe came in, tossing her damp cheerleading bag on the couch beside me. Her uniform peeked out of the half-zipped bag, bright red and white, with that glittery logo that had become the unofficial symbol of her popularity. "You're so boring, Ethan," she said suddenly, plopping down next to me. "All you ever do is sit here like a zombie." I didn't bother looking up. "And all you ever do is point that out." She nudged me with her elbow, a mischievous smile tugging at her lips. "You know what your problem is? You've got zero spirit. No fun, no daring. It's like you're allergic to excitement." I sighed, already bracing for whatever scheme was forming in her head. "What's your point, Chloe?" Her eyes gleamed. Bet. That one word made my stomach tighten. Chloe loved making bets with me, bets I almost always lost. From racing to the corner store to trying to memorize song lyrics, she had a knack for picking challenges where I'd trip up, and then she'd hold my losses over my head for weeks. "I'm not playing your stupid games today," I muttered. But Chloe leaned closer, lowering her voice in that conspiratorial way she always did when she wanted something. "Come on. Just one. I promise this one will actually be fun." I should have known better. But something about the way she said it, the spark in her eyes, the confidence in her tone, hooked me. Against my better judgment, I said, "Fine. What's the bet?" Her grin widened. She reached into her cheer bag and pulled out her uniform, holding it up like a trophy. The red skirt shimmered under the light, the top embroidered with her squad's logo. My jaw dropped. "No way," I said immediately. "Whatever you're thinking, no." "Oh, come on." She twirled the skirt on her finger. "The bet is simple. If you lose, you wear this. Full uniform. Hair, makeup, the works." My heart thudded. "You're insane." She tilted her head, smirking. "Scared?" That word was like a trigger. She knew exactly how to push me. Calling me scared always worked. It made me defensive, desperate to prove I wasn't the coward she accused me of being. "I'm not scared," I shot back, though my voice cracked slightly. "Then prove it." She laid the uniform on the couch, the fabric soft and dangerously inviting. "One game. One chance. If you win, I'll clean your room for a month. If you lose," she tapped the uniform, "you play dress up." I swallowed hard. The idea of wearing her uniform, even as a joke, made my face flush. What if someone saw me? What if she took a picture? The risk was terrifying, but so was the thought of backing down. "Fine," I muttered. "What's the game?" Her grin turned victorious. "Simple. Trivia. 3 questions. Get 2 wrong, you lose." That was the moment everything shifted. I thought it was harmless, a silly bet I'd probably lose, but one that wouldn't matter once the rain cleared and life went back to normal. I didn't realize then that Chloe had a plan, a deeper game she was playing, one that would change the way I saw myself forever. As she fired off her first question, her uniform lying between us like a ticking time bomb, I felt the first sparks of dread flicker in my chest. I couldn't have known that soon. I'd be staring into a mirror in that same uniform, my reflection unrecognizable. And I couldn't have known how much that reflection would change me. When I woke the next morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains, golden and unforgiving. For a second, I forgot what had happened. My mind clung to the faint hope that last night, the wig, the makeup, the laughter echoing in my cousin's room, had been nothing more than some bizarre dream. But then I looked to my right. On the dresser sat the wig, perched neatly on its stand like a trophy. Next to it were the brushes, the lipstick tubes, the nail polish, all lined up in a mockery of normalcy. My heart plummeted. This was real. I groaned and dragged myself out of bed. My skin still smelled faintly of floral shampoo from the shower Emily had insisted I take before she started her makeover. Even my nails bore faint traces of polish she hadn't let me scrub off completely. No matter how I looked at it, I was already trapped in her game. I tried to keep a low profile that morning, sneaking downstairs in loose sweatpants and a hoodie. My aunt greeted me warmly, pouring me a glass of orange juice. Emily, sitting at the table in a pastel skirt and a smug smile, winked at me. "Morning, sis," she said in a sing-song tone. I nearly choked on my juice. My aunt didn't even look up, clearly thinking Emily was joking around. But I knew that smirk. She wasn't letting this go. The day passed in a blur, but I couldn't shake the sense of doom pressing on me. Every time I caught Emily's gaze, she had that look, half amusement, half triumph. I avoided her as best I could, but by evening she cornered me in the hallway. "Ready for round two?" she whispered. I froze. "No. Emily, I'm done. Last night was crazy enough. Let's just forget it." But she leaned in closer, her voice low and dangerous. "You remember our bet. You lost. And you don't break promises, do you?" My throat tightened. She wasn't bluffing. Emily had always been stubborn, but this was different. There was something almost obsessive in her eyes. She guided me back to her room before I could resist. Clothes were already laid out on the bed. A soft blouse, a pleated skirt, stockings. My breath caught. This wasn't just another prank. This was a wardrobe prepared in advance. You planned this?" I whispered. Her smile widened. "Of course. I knew you'd lose. I always win." That night was worse. She didn't just stop at makeup and a wig. She taught me how to walk in the skirt, how to sit properly, how to tilt my head when I spoke. Every little detail was scrutinized. I stumbled through it, my cheeks burning, but Emily wouldn't let me quit. "There," she said finally, stepping back to admire her work. "You're getting better. Almost like a real girl." Her words stabbed at me. Almost like a real girl. The way she said it, half mocking, half serious, sent a strange shiver through me. I stared at my reflection again. The boy I knew was fading, hidden behind layers of foundation and fabric. My chest felt tight, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to rip it all off and scream. Another part couldn't look away. Days turned into a strange rhythm. Emily always found a way to pull me back into her world. At first it was evenings in her room, practicing makeup or trying on outfits. But soon she started pushing boundaries. "Let's go out for ice cream," she said one Saturday, holding up a sundress. I panicked. "Out? In public? No way." She crossed her arms. "A bet's a bet. Unless you want me to tell Aunt Sarah how you begged me to dress you up." "That's not what happened." I hissed, but the damage was done. She had me cornered. Minutes later, I was outside, my heart racing with every step. The sundress swished around my legs, the wig itching under the summer sun. Every laugh, every glance from strangers made me feel like they knew, like they could see right through me. But no one stared. No one pointed. To the world, I was just another girl walking beside her cousin. That realization shook me more than anything. Back home, I confronted her. "Why are you doing this? What do you want from me?" Emily tilted her head, studying me. For once, her smirk faded. "Because you need this," she said softly. You don't see yourself the way I do. You're hiding from something, and I'm going to make you face it.
Her words rattled me.
I didn't understand what she meant, but the conviction in her voice scared me. That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I couldn't deny what was happening. Each day, Emily was pulling me deeper into a role I never asked for. And yet somewhere deep inside, I wasn't fighting as hard as I thought I should. The bet had started as a joke, but now it was changing me. And Emily wasn't going to stop until I became the twin sister she wanted. The following week felt like a slow unraveling of my old life. Every day, Emily tightened her grip on me, weaving me deeper into her twisted bet. At first, I thought I could keep the two halves of myself separate, the boy I had always been and the twin sister Emily was molding me into. But soon, the line blurred. It started small. Emily would accidentally leave one of my old shirts missing, replacing it with something softer, slimmer, something that hugged my frame in ways I wasn't used to. Wear this today, she'd say casually, tossing me a fitted tee with pastel stripes. No one will notice. And she was right. No one did. But I noticed. I noticed how the fabric clung, how the sleeves cut shorter than I was used to, how the mirror showed someone different every time I caught a glimpse. One evening, she came into my room carrying a shopping bag. What now? I groaned, already dreading it. Relax, she said, sitting on the bed and pulling out her purchases one by one. A silky blouse, a pleated skirt, a pair of low heels. You're going to thank me later. My chest tightened. Emily, I can't. This is too much. You can, she snapped, her tone sharper than usual. And you will. Remember you lost. You don't get to quit halfway. Her words stung. I wanted to argue, to shove the clothes back in the bag, but something stopped me. It wasn't just her threats, it was the way she looked at me, as if daring me to break. So I gave in. That night, she insisted I wear the full outfit. The blouse shimmered under the light, the skirt brushing just above my knees. The heels were low but still threw me off balance, forcing me to cling to the wall as I practiced walking. Emily watched, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk on her lips.
Better, she said.
Still clumsy, but better. I hated how my cheeks warmed at her approval. She made me sit across from her, legs crossed properly, hands folded neatly in my lap. Posture, she scolded. If you're going to be my twin, you need to act the part.
Twin.
The word echoed in my head like a bell tolling. I was no longer just her cousin in disguise. She was reshaping me into something closer, something more dangerous. The next test came sooner than I expected. One afternoon, Emily barged into my room with a grin that set my nerves on fire. We're going shopping. My stomach dropped. No way. Emily, please. She cut me off with a raised eyebrow. It's not optional. You think you can just hide in the house forever? If you're serious about this bet, you have to face the real world. I wanted to scream at her, but my words caught in my throat. She was right, in her own twisted way. If I backed out now, she'd expose everything. Minutes later, I found myself in the passenger seat of my aunt's car, Emily driving us toward the mall. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. I tugged at the hem of my dress, her dress that I was wearing. Every shadow on the road felt like eyes staring at me, every red light a spotlight exposing my shame. At the mall, it was worse. Emily strutted confidently, her arm linked with mine, dragging me through aisles of clothes. I tried to shrink into myself, praying no one would notice. But no one did. Sales clerks smiled politely. Customers passed without a second glance. To them, we were just two girls shopping together. The realization made me dizzy. Inside the fitting room, Emily shoved a bundle of clothes into my arms. Try these. I can't, I whispered, panic rising. Yes, you can, she said firmly. And don't come out until I see them. Shaking, I obeyed. One by one, I slipped into the outfits she'd chosen, skirts, blouses, dresses in soft colors that clung and flowed around me. The mirror reflected a stranger, someone I barely recognized. My heart raced as I turned side to side, caught between horror and something I didn't want to name. When I finally stepped out, Emily's eyes lit up. "Perfect," she said softly. "You look perfect." The sincerity in her voice startled me. For the first time, it didn't feel like mockery. It felt real. And that terrified me more than anything. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. The mall experience replayed in my mind over and over. The stares I imagined but never came. The way the fabric moved against my skin. The way Emily's words lingered. "You look perfect." I buried my face in the pillow, torn between shame and a strange flutter in my chest. I wasn't supposed to enjoy this. I wasn't supposed to feel right. But the bet was no longer just about winning or losing. It was pulling me into something deeper, something I couldn't escape. The following days blurred into a cycle of rehearsals. Emily drilled me constantly. How to talk, how to walk, how to laugh without giving myself away. She corrected every slip, every hesitation, with ruthless precision. "You're still too stiff," she said one afternoon, pushing my shoulders back. "Loosen up. You're not a robot." "I'm trying," I snapped, frustration boiling over. "Try harder," she shot back. Her intensity scared me. It wasn't just a game anymore. It was obsession. And I couldn't help wondering, was she transforming me because of the bet, or because she wanted something more? By the end of that week, I felt like a stranger in my own skin. My reflection no longer startled me. It confused me. Some mornings I woke up and almost expected to see the girl staring back. One evening, as I stood before the mirror adjusting a blouse Emily had insisted I wear, she came up behind me and rested her chin on my shoulder. "See," she whispered, "you belong like this." I froze, her words sinking deep. Belong? Did I? The thought chilled me, even as part of me wanted to believe it. And so, by the time the weekend rolled around, I knew there was no turning back. Emily had woven her web too tightly around me. The boy I had been was slipping further away, while the twin sister she demanded took shape. But something told me this was only the beginning, because Emily wasn't finished with me yet. And deep down, I was starting to fear neither was I. The weekend came faster than I expected, and with it, Emily's newest scheme. She had been whispering about it all week, dangling hints that made my stomach churn. Saturday morning, she burst into my room without knocking, arms full of clothes. "Up," she said, tossing a bundle onto my bed. I sat up groggily. "What is it now?" Her grin widened. "Cheer practice." My blood ran cold.
No.
"Emily, no way. I'm not." "You are," she cut in sharply. "You lost the bet, remember? And if you're going to be my twin, you can't just sit at home. You're coming with me." I stared at the pile she dropped, a cheer uniform. Her cheer uniform. "This is insane," I whispered. Emily crossed her arms. "What's insane is thinking you can back out now. I've put weeks into this. You're good enough to pass. No one will question it." Her confidence was terrifying. My heart hammered as I picked up the uniform, the fabric light and slippery in my hands. The pleated skirt looked impossibly short. "Emily, please," my voice cracked. "If they find out." "They won't," she said firmly, her eyes boring into mine. "Not if you listen to me." And just like that, I knew I didn't have a choice. The transformation that morning was the most intense yet. Emily sat me in front of the mirror, makeup spread out like a painter's palette. Her hands moved with practiced precision, lining my eyes, brushing color onto my cheeks, painting my lips a glossy pink. "Hold still," she murmured as she applied mascara. "You blink too much when you're nervous." I clenched my fists in my lap, trying to steady my breathing. Each stroke of her brush pulled me further from myself. By the time she finished, I barely recognized the reflection. Wide, darkened eyes. Smooth skin. A softness I couldn't fake on my own. Then came the uniform. The top clung tightly, the skirt swishing as I shifted uncomfortably. White socks, sneakers, a bow in my hair. Emily stepped back, hands on her hips, and smiled. Perfect. I shook my head, panic rising. I can't go out like this. They'll know. Someone will know. They won't, she repeated, her voice calm but commanding. You're my twin now. And twins don't let each other down. The ride to the gym was a blur. I sat in the passenger seat, hands trembling, tugging at the hem of my skirt every few seconds. Emily hummed along to the radio, completely unfazed. You're overthinking it, she said as we pulled into the parking lot. Just stick by me. Smile. Do what I do. I wanted to run. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to bolt, to rip off the uniform and hide. But Emily's grip on my wrist as we walked inside was ironclad. The moment we stepped through the doors, the noise hit me. Shouts, laughter, the squeak of sneakers on polished wood. The cheer squad was already warming up, their voices carrying across the gym. I froze, but Emily tugged me forward. Come on, sis.
Sis.
The word sent a shiver down my spine. The girls greeted Emily with squeals and hugs, their energy overwhelming. And then their eyes landed on me. Who's this? One of them asked, smiling curiously. Emily didn't miss a beat. My cousin's twin.
She's visiting for a while.
Thought I'd bring her along. For a second, my world teetered on the edge. But then the girls just smiled wider, accepting me without question. Cute uniform, one said. You should totally try out with us. I forced a laugh, praying my voice didn't crack. Emily smirked at me, her eyes glinting with mischief. Maybe she will. Practice was a nightmare. Emily dragged me through the routines, shouting corrections under her breath. Higher kick. Point your toes. Smile. I stumbled, tripped, nearly fell more than once. My face burned as the other girls giggled, but none of them looked suspicious. To them, I was just clumsy. When the music played and the squad performed full routines, I struggled to keep up. My body screamed in protest, my legs aching, my lungs on fire. But Emily never let me stop. You wanted to give up? She hissed during a water break, her breath hot against my ear.
Not now.
Not when you're finally proving you can do this. I wanted to scream at her, to tear off the bow and the skirt and run. But something inside me wouldn't let go. Some twisted part of me wanted her approval. And when the routine ended and the squad clapped for me, even jokingly, my chest swelled with something I couldn't name. But the illusion cracked sooner than I expected. Halfway through practice, one of the squad captains walked over, eyeing me curiously. You know, she said, tilting her head, you really do look a lot like Emily. But your voice, it's kind of different. My heart stopped. Emily swooped in instantly, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. She's just shy, she said smoothly. Hasn't been around people much lately. Give her time. The captain shrugged, satisfied. But I could feel my hands shaking. It was too close. Every second, the risk of being caught grew sharper, heavier. And Emily seemed to thrive on it. By the time practice ended, I was drenched in sweat, my body aching, my nerves fried. But Emily beamed as we walked to the car. You did it, she said proudly. No one suspected a thing. I slumped against the seat, exhausted. Emily, this is insane. I can't keep doing this. Someone's going to find out. She leaned closer, her voice low and firm. But they didn't. And you looked incredible out there. Admit it, you felt it too. I opened my mouth to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. Because deep down, she was right. For a fleeting moment, out there on the gym floor, I had felt something. Something terrifying. Something addictive. And that scared me more than anything. But Emily wasn't done. That night, as we sat in her room reviewing the day, she dropped another bomb. There's a game next week, she said casually. And you're going to cheer with us. My blood turned to ice. No, I whispered. Emily, no. That's too much. It's not, she said firmly. It's perfect. No one will doubt you after that. I shook my head, panic rising. I can't. I'll get caught. I'll ruin everything. Her eyes locked onto mine, hard and unyielding. You don't have a choice. And in that moment, I knew she meant it. The bet was no longer a game. It was a trap, and I was already too deep to climb out. The week leading up to the game was torture. Every night, Emily drilled me on routines, chants, and the exact way to move my arms, legs, even my smile. Cheer isn't just about energy, she said one evening, tugging my wrist until my hand was perfectly in line. It's about precision. If you slip, they'll notice. Her words echoed like a warning bell. If I slipped, they'd notice. And if they noticed, my life was over. I lay awake night after night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd gotten here. What had started as a stupid bet now felt like a slow march toward disaster. And yet, every time I thought about backing out, I saw Emily's face, the fire in her eyes, the way she said I looked incredible. That part scared me most of all, because some twisted piece of me wanted to keep proving her right. Game day arrived with brutal clarity. The gym was packed, bleachers filled with cheering students, parents, and teachers. The air vibrated with energy, banners waving, the smell of popcorn and sweat thick in the air. I sat in the locker room in full uniform, knees bouncing, heart pounding so loud I thought the other girls would hear it. Emily was beside me, calm as ever, tying her bow with practiced ease. "You're going to be fine," she said, glancing at me. "I'm not," I whispered. "Emily, I can't do this. If someone notices—" "No one will," she cut in sharply. "You've practiced. You're ready. And if you bail now, you'll ruin it. For me. For us." Her words were a chain around my neck. I swallowed hard and nodded, even though my entire body screamed to run. When we stepped onto the court, the noise was deafening. My legs felt like jelly, my hands slick with sweat. The squad formed into position, pom-poms raised high. Emily gave me a small nod, and the music blared. I moved. Muscle memory took over. Arms sharp, kicks high, voice straining as I shouted with the others. At first, I was terrified of every eye on me. But as the routine flowed, something shifted. The crowd cheered, energy washing over me, and for a fleeting second, I felt powerful, like I belonged. Emily caught my mid-routine, her grin wide, her gaze proud, and that flicker of pride lit something inside me I hadn't expected. But then, disaster struck. During a lift, when I was supposed to be hoisted up with two other girls, my sneaker slipped. My balance wavered, and for a horrifying second, I thought I was going to fall. The crowd gasped. My heart stopped. But Emily lunged forward, steadying me, her strength holding me up. "Smile," she hissed through clenched teeth. I forced my lips into place, even as terror flooded my veins. The music covered the mistake, and the routine carried on, but my nerves were shot. Every second after that felt like standing on a knife's edge. At halftime, we retreated to the locker room. My chest heaved, sweat soaking my uniform. Emily was buzzing with adrenaline. "That was close," she said, shaking her head. "But you pulled through." I almost exposed everything. I choked out. "Emily, this is insane. I can't." "Yes, you can," she said fiercely. "You were amazing out there. Did you see their faces? No one suspected a thing." Her certainty rattled me. I wanted to scream that I wasn't her twin, that I was a fraud in a skirt and bow. But the words died on my tongue, because deep down, some dark, hidden part of me craved her approval. The second half of the game was even worse. The crowd was rowdier, the routines more complex, and my nerves stretched thin. And then the twist came. Near the end of the game, as we lined up for the final cheer, I spotted someone in the crowd.
Emma.
My girlfriend. She was sitting in the bleachers, eyes wide, staring straight at me. My blood turned to ice. She wasn't supposed to be here. She'd said she was visiting family that weekend. What was she doing at the game? Panic surged. Did she recognize me? Could she see through the makeup, the uniform, the wig? I stumbled on a step, nearly dropping my pom-poms. Emily's hand shot out to steady me again, but her eyes followed mine, and when she saw Emma, her expression shifted. A spark of realization. A glint of danger. The routine ended in thunderous applause, but I barely heard it. My entire focus was on Emma, who hadn't taken her eyes off me once. When we filed off the court, Emily grabbed my arm, her grip bruising. "That was your girlfriend, wasn't it?" she hissed. I couldn't speak. My throat was dry, my chest tight. Emily's eyes narrowed. Well, looks like the game just got interesting. After the game, the squad poured into the hallway, buzzing with excitement. Parents congratulated their daughters, friends hugged, laughter echoed. But I was frozen, hidden near the locker room door, praying Emma wouldn't come closer. And then she did. She walked straight toward me, her gaze sharp, her steps deliberate. "Jake," she said softly. The name hit me like a bullet. My heart stopped, the world tilting on its axis. Emily stepped between us instantly, blocking Emma's view. "You must be mistaken," she said smoothly, her smile sharp as a blade. "This is my twin sister. She doesn't know anyone named Jake." Emma's eyes narrowed, flicking between us. I know what I saw. The air crackled with tension, the noise of the crowd fading until it felt like the three of us were the only people in the world. And in that moment, I knew the secret I'd fought so hard to hide was seconds away from shattering. Lara's voice echoed from behind me. "I told you, Alex, or should I say Alexa, you'd fit perfectly. You're the twin I never had, but now I do." Her words pierced me. My heart thudded. She wasn't joking. She wasn't playing around anymore. She had made me into her twin, her equal, her reflection. The room spun as flashes of the past weeks hit me. Every bet, every dare, every outfit, every mocking smile she gave. I thought it was a game, something temporary.
But now?
Now she wanted me permanently sealed into this life. "Why are you doing this?" I croaked, my voice high, trembling, girlish, unnervingly natural. Lara walked closer, circling me, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. "Because, cousin, I've always been jealous of you. You were the golden boy, the smart one, the one everyone in the family believed would go far. And me? Just the pretty face. Always underestimated. Always compared." Her eyes glistened with a dangerous mix of triumph and bitterness. "But when I saw how easily you slipped into this," she gestured at my figure, my flowing hair, my curves, my painted lips. "I realized I could make you into something better. Something beautiful. Something that belongs to me." I stumbled back, shaking my head. "No, this isn't me. This can't be me." But when I caught my reflection in the mirror again, it was undeniable. I looked like her. Same features, same aura, except softer, prettier, more delicate. Lara smirked. "The more you fight it, the more natural it becomes. Haven't you noticed? Your voice doesn't even crack anymore. Your skin glows. Even your walk, it's hers, not his." I wanted to scream, to tear off the dress, to rip the makeup from my face, but my hands froze halfway. My body felt trapped between identities, the boy I once was and the girl I appeared to be. Lara leaned in close, whispering, "And soon, you'll stop fighting. Because deep down, Alex, you love it. I see it in your eyes every time you twirl in front of the mirror, every time you blush when someone calls you her. You can't lie to me." Tears pricked my eyes. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe she was right. I didn't know anymore. But one thing I knew for certain. This bet had gone too far, and I was standing on the edge of losing myself forever. Lara stepped back, her smile widening. "So, here's the final choice. Either embrace being my twin, accept your new life as Alexa, or I'll show the world. Family, friends, everyone. They'll all see the real you." The ultimatum hit like thunder. My knees went weak. My cousin, my tormentor, my creator, was holding my entire identity hostage. And as I stared at the reflection of the girl I had become, I realized the most terrifying thing of all. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to fight back anymore. Lara's perfume filled the room, sweet, intoxicating, almost suffocating, as she stepped closer and placed a velvet box on the dresser between us. "What's that?" My voice cracked as I asked, though it sounded softer now, like a frightened echo of hers. She smiled, slow and deliberate. "The last step, cousin. Or should I say sister?" My stomach turned. "Lara, please, you've had your fun. Enough is enough. Give me my life back." But she just shook her head and slid the box toward me. Open it. My hands trembled as I lifted the lid. Inside lay a glimmering silver necklace with a heart-shaped locket engraved with 2 letters, L and A. I had it custom-made, Laura said, her voice dropping to a near whisper.
For us.
Laura and Alexa. Twins forever. I dropped the locket like it burned me. I'm not Alexa. She laughed, the sound sharp and triumphant. Aren't you? Look at you. Listen to yourself. Even your protests sound like mine now. I spun toward the mirror, desperate for some trace of the old me. But staring back was the girl, soft hair cascading down, lips trembling, eyes wide with fear. My own reflection blinked back tears, as if it were a stranger pleading to be saved. Laura came up behind me, resting her hands on my shoulders. It's okay, she cooed. Stop fighting. Just accept it. This is who you were meant to be. I tried to shake her off.
No.
This is who you want me to be, not me. Her grip tightened. You think anyone out there will take you back as Alex after this? After the photos, the videos, the months of training? She leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. I own your story now. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. You wouldn't. Oh, I would, she whispered. Unless you agree. Right here, right now. Put on the necklace. Be Alexa. My twin. Forever. The room went silent except for the thundering of my pulse. My fingers hovered over the locket. If I put it on, everything would change. Maybe it already had. Lara's smile widened as she held out the necklace. Choose, cousin. Choose. I stared at it, at her, at the girl in the mirror. Part of me wanted to rip it from her hands and throw it across the room. Another part of me, smaller, quieter, but terrifyingly real, wanted to clasp it around my neck and let it all happen. I whispered, barely audible. What happens if I say no? Her eyes went cold. Then the world sees everything. Every secret, every picture, every message. You'll be ruined. No one will see Alex ever again. Only a broken boy who couldn't decide who he was. Tears rolled down my cheeks. She was right about one thing. I was already on the edge. She stepped back, arms crossed, waiting. So, what's it going to be, Alexa? I looked down at the necklace in my trembling hands. It glinted under the light like a promise, or a trap. And then, somewhere in the back of my mind, a thought flickered. If I put it on, maybe I can survive. Maybe I can plan. Maybe I can take control back later. I swallowed hard. My hands rose slowly toward my throat. Lara's smile widened into something almost feral. Good girl. But before I could clasp it shut, the door behind us creaked open. A voice called out. Alex? Laura? What's going on in here? We both froze. Standing in the doorway was Aunt Marie, eyes wide, taking in the scene. The makeup, the dresses, the necklace in my hands, the look of panic on my face. And just like that, the entire house of cards we'd built trembled on the edge of collapse. Lara's nails dug into my shoulder, but her smile never faltered. Well, she murmured softly, I guess it's time they met my sister. I gasped, the necklace slipping from my fingers. The choice I thought I had was gone.